Hey everybody, welcome back to Record-ology. Back in 2018, we did a video on a Victrola jukebox. And I've actually used it every day since then, with a couple of exceptions, but mostly every single day. It's lived on our kitchen counter, but last night, something bad happened. You're not going to want to miss this. We first reviewed this back in 2018, if you can believe it, almost to the month. It was June of 2018. I'll link to that original video down below in the description if you want to see that. But that was back in Colorado, and this made the move with us to Florida. Certainly not everything did. In fact, very few things did from what we had reviewed over the years, but we held on to this and really grew to love it more and more. Now, in that video, you will hear me talk about it being in the kitchen. This would be great like in a mini bar, entertainment room if you have one, or just your office or your bedroom, or the kitchen. I keep thinking the kitchen, it looks really cool here in the kitchen, so I don't know. And I keep thinking of use cases. I'm like, it would be really good in the kitchen. Well, that's exactly what we did. We put it in our kitchen, and it has been there ever since, and it has been on every day since then until yesterday, because it finally died. And in today's video, I'm going to see if I can fix that. So this is obviously a 50s themed item. I love jukeboxes. I think they're very, very cool. We have had real jukeboxes in the family in years past, so this is something that is just really cool to have. Obviously, it's miniature. It's a couple feet tall here. It's great. It's a desktop unit. And what is it exactly? Well, it is a radio, I believe FM only. It is a CD player. You can see the CD opening here. And now I'd be wondering what the DAC is, because I've been so into learning about that piece of it lately. It's probably a pretty basic one. And Bluetooth speaker, and that's really it. It has speakers on the sides here, these little grills. We've got this wood veneer wrap, these plastic pieces on the front. The one thing about Jukebox that always kind of bums me out about, I wouldn't say non-real, because this is a real item, obviously, but is in a regular real jukebox, you see the records being, changed and played up in this area here. Well, obviously, what are they going to do with that space? It's like an iconic area of a jukebox. So in this one, it's got sort of this holographic paper in there to kind of give a light effect, but there's no lights in there. I always feel like they can do more with that. Something. That being said, this does have lights around the perimeter here. And at one time, they oscillated between a few different colors, and it seemed to kind of go to one color only at some point. There is a switch on the back. I'll look at that in a minute. But our son, when he was living at home, he would use a CD player from time to time. Actually, no, he wouldn't use a CD player. He'd use the Bluetooth. What am I thinking? He has like 3 CDs to his name. That's ancient technology. But I've used a CD player a couple of times maybe. But mostly he would use it as a Bluetooth speaker if he was in the kitchen cooking. And boy, there were some interesting events that transpired when you let your teenagers cook. Most of them good. He's actually very, very talented. But you never know, right? What's going to burn down or not. He didn't burn anything down. He's great. Tyler, if you're watching this, you're awesome. But yeah, he probably got more use out of this than any of us, except for the fact we would just leave it on with the lights. Turn it on in the morning and turn it off at night. And it looked good, especially at night when it was the only thing on in the kitchen. It was a very beautiful glow, kind of a bluish, purplish glow. And it just looked nice. And that's really what we used it for. But every single day I'd come in and push the switch to turn it on, push the switch to turn it off. And then finally last night I went to go turn it on and it's not working anymore. Let me show you exactly what it's doing. It's also got a noisy power supply. So if it's really quiet and you listen, you can hear like this, which is kind of typical of power supplies that'll make noise just sitting there, not even turned on. And from what I've read, it's not dangerous. It's kind of concerning when your power supply starts making noise. I prefer to unplug things that are doing that. But anyway, this has developed that over these 7 years or whatever it is as well. And but yeah, if I push the button, it just goes right back off. There's got to be like a little plastic catch that just wore down after millions of times of me doing this and this and this. So I'm going to open it up. We're going to look at it together and see if I can figure it out. Now, the colors, even in the original video with a much poorer camera, never came across well on camera. Like that's a purple oscillating to blue, and the colors are way richer than they look on camera, but that's what it is. Also, this piece never lit up, which I thought was annoying. I think that should light up as well to match, because it looks like the same color when it's off, so you'd think it would do something. We've reviewed other jukeboxes like this. This has been the best one, though. None of those ever equaled, the visual appeal of this, in my opinion. Looking on the back panel here, this is probably a masonite. It's like a plastic coated masonite with a vent grill. We have an FM antenna right here. There's an aux input, and then a light mode switch, mixed mode and single mode. So my perception that the light started or stopped alternating was probably because I had this switch to single and didn't realize it over the years, or during the move it did that, and I never remembered that there was a switch back here. So that's on me. But the on and off is definitely not working. So let's go ahead and open it up and see if it's something I can fix. All right, let me say at the outset, I don't think that opening it on the back here is going to do anything, because the area where the power switch is located has its own set of screws, so I think that we'll have to go in through the front. But I figured since we're taking things apart, why don't we take off the back here, because I think it'll be interesting. We'll probably see most of the components this way. So yeah, the switch itself, just over the last, I'd say 3-4 months, had started to fail. Like, this isn't a huge surprise. It would take pushing it a couple of times to get it to stick on. It would have a tendency of going off, and then sometimes I'd come into the room and it would just be off. Yeah, these are wood screws going into a wood substrate of some sort. I see the sawdust coming off of there. So my wife has extremely high faith in my ability to fix this, which is why she's gone ahead and purchased another one from Amazon, which should be here in 2 days, which you may think would anger me, but on the contrary, I feel great. There's no pressure to be successful in making this work, but maybe I can, and maybe I can't. But either way, we're going to see what's inside this thing. So was not planning on doing a show on this today. Okay, moment of truth. By the way, this is $150 new, like list price, but it's going for like $107 right now on Amazon. Alrighty, and the moment of truth. Come on. Oh, I'm like yanking things apart. Oh, that's the antenna, so I need to unknot the antenna. Okay, I've got it untied now. By the way, how you guys doing? It's hot as actual heck here. Absolutely nuclear. And I've decided heat comes down to, obviously you hear about heat and humidity, but it's also direct sunlight. I've decided, living in the South now, that the worst of the heat is impacted, number 1, by direct sunlight, number 2, by humidity, and number 3, by temperature. Okay, and we're still hung up here. I've got to pull this all the way through. It's a very long antenna. Okay, and we are in. Hello in there. Okay, so we've got our speakers. We've got our PCB. We've got the CD mechanism, 2 motors powering that. And let's see if I can read the label on the side of the motor. That says Mabuchi, made in China. Here's the switch. There's the power supply. Here's a shield. And there's the back of that box. And as suspected, the switch itself is going to be on the flip side. But we get a look inside it, and I like doing that. We used to do that way more on the channel. I miss doing that. By the way, did I say this is unplugged? I should have said that. Definitely unplugged. And I always have to say, don't do this. You'll void your warranty. Although the warranty on this is as ancient as something really old. All right, let's look at the front, and we'll look at what we really need to take apart next. This panel is what needs to come out. So let me go ahead and do that. And just like that, we have the screws out. Hopefully the switch can be fixed, because I really think that's the only thing that's wrong with it. And I guess I probably have to pull these knobs off, but they don't want to come off. Okay, that one came off. So this one should come off too, right? Come on. Maybe I can pry it up with this little screwdriver. All right, I'm going to flip it around back and see if there's anything I can do from this side. All right, I'm going to remove the circuit board to gain access to the opposite side. That knob's going to have to come off, though. There's no way. Well, it's feasible that it's not like the other one, but unlikely. All right, I'm going to remove the circuit board screws, unplug these cables, and we'll go from there. Luckily, most of that was socketed, but I went ahead and removed a few of the plugs, and then I realized I probably don't need to take that all off. Remove the 4 screws, and boy, having a magnetic tipped screwdriver is a lifesaver. And I heard something drop out, so I'm thinking maybe that panel now. Yes, okay. So we have freed the panel. Nothing cheaper than chrome plastic looking, you know what I mean? Look at that. Look at these little pieces of sponge on the back side of these push rods for the buttons. Interesting, huh? Okay, and what we wanted to do is get to that switch, and there the knob just popped off. That's the faulty component right there. As you can see now, it's not rigid. Look at this masking tape holding that together, either holding that together or insulating that piece right there. So that switch is all that's wrong, but can it be fixed? My hope was that there'd be like some sort of mechanical component that I could jerry rig somehow to work.
You're watching Record-ology.
Okay, guys, I've got good news and bad news. The good news is I don't have to put any of this back together because it's not fixable from my level. Now, there are tons of people, probably you, that could easily fix this, and I think that's cool. I'm not that guy. My skill level is I celebrate if I manage to put on a belt and lubricate the right parts, okay? But yeah, look at this. It's all contained in this little part here. So see this whole assembly right here, from this metal part to the spring and to this push button switch is what's failed, and it's within the metal part. So there's either a teensy tiny little plastic thing that's eroded over time, or for whatever reason, it's just not going into the down position. So if I push it, it should stay down here, and then you push it again and it comes out here. But as you can see, no matter what I do, it goes back to the off position. If there wasn't one of these units coming in 2 days, I might, try to bypass the switch and just hardwire it on. But as it is, I think we're going to call it a day and say we got 7 years out of this thing. And in the scheme of things, for a device that we had and used for 7 years, I think that's pretty acceptable. I think that's a win. And I apologize I wasn't able to show you a nice clean tie a bow on it resolution to fixing this, but I never called it a fix it video. I just wanted to do an update on this, and we have done an update on this. So Mr. Victrola Miniature Jukebox, I thank you for your years of service and look forward to your replacement.
This adapter's where it all begins. Your vinyl dreams are calling out loud. Be the king, be the queen of the record crowd. Record-ology's got what you must embrace. A 45 adapter to rock the place.
All right, my friends, and that's going to do it. I hope you enjoyed this video. This was not planned. I have a whole slew of things that need to get reviewed, but this is real life here. So when something happens to a device that has been seen on the show, I want to update you guys on it, especially if it's one that I use a lot. Also, this item is rather famous on this channel because it's been in the background of many of our videos, especially up until we moved to Florida. You would see it in the background of almost all of our videos. So you'll see it a lot in the background, and just know that we really enjoyed it. Can't wait for the next one. Probably not going to review it again. I think we all get the idea. But we'll definitely open it up with enthusiasm, put it back on the shelf, and hopefully get at least another 7 years out of it. So let me know down in the comments below if you would be interested in having a device like this, or if you already do, or maybe you have a real one. That would be even better. I would love to get one of those someday. But that's going to do it for today. Don't forget our merch. Don't forget our adapters. And don't forget to join us in our membership program, only $1 a month, exclusive content, and also at our new YouTube channel, Detour with Record-ology, where we do a whole host of non-record player related content. In fact, we're doing an incredible project tonight that I can't wait to share with you very, very soon on that channel. Links, all that stuff are down below. But that's going to do it for today. Whew. That's a lot. So happy record hunting, and we'll see you next time.